Hello and welcome back. It's the grand final time here at the GG.Bet Beijing Invitational. One of these teams will be heading to IEM Beijing. The other will come second place, but they don't walk away empty-handed. They do get $5,000.
Yeah.
My name is Dinko. This is Halvor, and this is the last time we'll be here on the pre-match desk. And, well, I've had a lot of fun, but it's time to get into it.
Yeah, it's time to get serious about this. And, I mean, we talked about it, obviously, once we saw mousesports qualify, that they're going to be coming into this as favorites. forZe have to be the underdog, even though they're pretty much a mainstay in invitational finals. And we're going to get into the veto as well. Vertigo has already been taken out by forZe. That's, I guess, par for the course. Followed up by nuke veto on mousesports makes complete sense. I think that was one of the things that mousesports kind of had to weigh up whether or not they wanted to do versus Heroic. They decided to ban Mirage. I think that's also a route you can go if you could play against forZe, because they've showcased themselves time and time again to be a really, really solid team on that very map. Dust 2, you said it. They're probably going to make this the mainstay of their veto, and they have done so the entire invitational. So for that to be their mousesports pick is not too surprising. Inferno as a third, that's always a welcome sight, I think. I'm a little bit surprised, actually, by the fact that mousesports wanted to remove Overpass.
Yeah.
But I guess even though they've won the last 2 times they've brought it out, not feeling super confident about playing against forZe, who are not necessarily experts on it, which I can't really get the logic to. But nonetheless, I think I enjoy like the idea of a matchup between mousesports and forZe on Inferno more so than I do on Overpass.
Yeah, perhaps mousesports just know how to counter forZe. Perhaps Carrigan thinks he can do it on the Inferno map. I mean, that's a map we've seen them play a lot, right? So perhaps he's got that in his back pocket. I think this is definitely just the comfort picks of the teams, though. We've seen Mirage come through as forZe's best map all the time. We see Dust 2 as mousesports' go-to. And so we probably should be seeing a 3-mapper if everything goes to plan.
If everything goes to plan, that's a big key. I think that a lot of this relies on being in a situation where forZe are able to actually pick up their own map pick, because, well, we saw that they definitely improved their Dust 2 from earlier in the Invitational to earlier today when they played against G2. They definitely added something new, or they were at least utilizing more of these standard catwalk takes and also the contact plays towards B, but I don't see a world really where they beat mousesports on this map.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they have to win the first map here for us if they want to stand a chance. I think mousesports coming into this are the heavy favorites, and obviously everyone's going to be expecting mousesports to take the spot at Beijing. But forZe have always upset these teams, though. Like they come in against #1 in the world at the time, Liquid in the Cologne Invitationals. They play them super close and could have even beat them in the end. But this team, you can't underestimate them, and if you do, that's when you lose.
Yeah, and the cool part is obviously they played at the major. That was the first round matchup for both these teams. That was we've talked about this again, like what statistics can tell you, and also what one of the things Heroic did pretty decently for themselves in their semifinals matchup, but couldn't necessarily capitalize off of. Opening frags.
Yeah.
In that matchup versus mousesports at the major, I'm pretty sure we got to the total of 12 opening kills for forZe in the first half. And I think they got a total of 4 rounds off of it, which is obviously not great. And that's, again, been one of the bigger weaknesses to forZe's entire play. That's one of the few things we can actually critique them on. Yeah. And that's something that needs to be changed up. But it's pretty cool. But they, like, over the course of, the last month, they've played all 3 maps that we're going to be seeing here in this best-of-3 series.
Yeah, well, they do the hard part, it seems, right? And getting that opening kill is the next part that should be easy. They can't do so well, and a big part of that is definitely Z-Power, right? He's the player that finds those opening kills pretty much all the time for the team.
He's super consistent about it.
He's super consistent about getting those opening kills, and he does so in such an aggressive manner, especially on maps like Inferno. We kind of know him for just pushing through middle, which is pretty crazy because a lot of opers will try that, but they never go to the full extent that he does.
Yeah, and he seems to be way above average when it comes to just accuracy with all this kind of crazy flicks that he actually needs to hit, without just giving up his life for no good reason. And as a back of that, often puts forZe in really, really good situations. So it's going to be super important that he wins out the battle versus voxic. I think in the first best-of-3 series we had between these two in the group stage, voxic definitely got the better of Z-Power. That was probably one of the weakest series we've seen him have in quite some time. But if the semifinals is anything to judge by, especially Overpass, Z-Power is coming into this feeling good about himself.
Exactly. And forZe have actually played another best-of-3 after that one today.
Yeah.
So they're definitely warmed up and they're ready to go. Hopefully that sort of level stays with them because they were dominating earlier in the second best-of-3 as well.
Yeah, they made it into 2-mapper. I think they played versus Heretics, the French.
Dust 2, they won 16-4.
Yeah, there we go, right? So they're getting a lot of dry runs, I guess, on the map before they have to go up against the final boss here now. Hopefully that'll do them so good. do them some good and not just drain them of energy. That's really what we're hoping for going into this, because otherwise it could become a rather quick 2-0. That's really what the first matchup they had ended up being. It was not the force that we're used to seeing. They did not play up to the level that we know they can, and they got smoked more or less. I mean, it was a 16-4 on Dust 2, and it was a 16-10 on Mirage, so not looking super duper competitive, even though there were quite a few swing rounds or potential for them. They need to show a better side of themselves. Otherwise, mousesports can already book their tickets to China.
Well, here it is. The grand final is underway. It's mousesports on the CT side, forZe on the T side here on Mirage. And as the picks come in the top right, we'll see Dust 2 a little bit later on, but it's here that we will see our first blood drawn. It's going to be chrisJ with the first kill into the final. FaZe is gone, and chrisJ is looking for a little bit more, but it's froZe backing him up. chrisJ picks up a headshot, and they just keep on coming. As ropz arrives to the party, it's zPower left alone.
All right, that didn't take a long time, and again, this trend of force running into things on their pistol continues. Never really slow it down, and when it works, it looks brilliant. When it goes awry, it doesn't really look as pretty. zPower is able to get at least one, so that's 300 extra bucks for his op fund, if nothing else. But mousesports get off to the start that they want.
Well, 1.78 from mousesports, 1.97 for forZe. Super close odds brought to you by GG.Bet, obviously the main sponsor of this event. The GG.Bet Beijing Invitational. So 1-0 scouts coming through. Flit. It was actually chrisJ who will end up dead. I thought Flit might have had a chance to drop him, but zPower who picks him off. It's froZe with the FAMAS in towards the ladder room. Molotov ready, Karrigan, he's going to fall. zPower will hit the deck, and froZe looking for a little bit more, but Jerry puts him away. So good damage done so far by forZe. mousesports need to be careful that they don't let it slip further.
That's absolutely true. With forZe being within headshot range and Karrigan obviously being within, well, leg shot range, there's definitely opportunities for forZe here to do some damage. zPower, just more often than not, seems to be finding the heads of people instead of legs with that scout. Bomb's been retrieved by Flit. Maybe actually hoping that some of the noise in mid is actually going to attract forZe to move forward. Flit actually has gotten a very fortunate smoke put down for him actually by one of the CTs. Oh, forZe goes even lower. Still doesn't bail off the position, which is really big, but that's going to allow for Flit to at least find the return frag. 1v2. And Karrigan is still on low HP. The problem is 10 seconds left. How do you get to bomb site here if you're Flit? If Karrigan's really finicky about this, he's going to let him live. You need to start planning Flit. Oh, it's a little bit late as well.
You have to go for this. There we go.
Yeah.
Karrigan denies the bomb plant, denies any extra cash.
I think it might have been too late to get the bomb plant through, but Karrigan might not have been 100% convinced about it. Otherwise, you would have let him just run it through, get that 300 bucks, but not obviously the team bonus for planning.
Yeah.
After the time runs out, and then end his life. But works out nonetheless for mousesports. But it becomes an expensive affair. Losing 3 players, sure. mousesports, they go up against a force that has invested decently into it, but yeah, they still would have liked to have it a little bit cleaner of an affair and than what they experienced. forZe, though, not getting a bomb plant down, cannot do the similar or go with the similar action as we saw against G2 on Overpass, for example, where they continuously would buy up. They would have an early op in the hands of zPower, glass cannon style, and just work off of that. This time, Jerry's not going to be as successful as he's been so often with the walkout through apps. Instead, it's zPower once again finding the first frag for forZe.
Well, FaZe is going to fall thanks to ropz, who picks him up, and it will be a man advantage for mousesports to play with. But for how long is Flit? Wanted to try and drop Karrigan. Luckily, the in-game leader of mousesports puts an end to him, and zPower and Almazer looking to see what they can find. And probably not a whole lot here as ChrisJ is ready for the hop through the window. And this exact map, we obviously see mousesports play forZe on. We've seen some very questionable plays from forZe.
Yeah, like, well, at this very part of the map as well, a cheeky 2v5 comes to mind. Again, though, we don't expect that to be a common occurrence. That's the kind of mistake that is so grave and so hideous that anyone can recognize it, and everyone on forZe's team speak is probably going like, what the hell?
What did we just do?
Yeah, it was like, how did we manage to lose that round? And obviously, when it's that glaring, then you are very unlikely to repeat it.
Yeah.
We'll see, though. Still early days. mousesports with a 3-0 lead. But now the real battle begins. forZe has gotten weapons into their hands. And talk about it every time we see them play Mirage. Their T side usually provides quite something for the CTs to deal with. And that's one reason why Flit finds the opening on voxy, because he tries to bail out Jerry again with the perfect timing. I don't understand how he always finds the opening.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy
this time, actually. Yeah, but nonetheless, they may make it happen. Well, 2 for 2 in terms of having people slide out of apps.
Well, ChrisJ and Carrigan in a 2v4. They'll try and get in towards the A-bomb site. ChrisJ is going to try and catch off C-Power, who does get a shot off. Is Crack able to assist? And Carrigan at least gets one elsewhere, but he will walk right in towards the murder hole. So it's so profoundly named.
Yeah. I need to like go back and watch what forZe are doing and literally have whoever I play pugs with at any given time do exactly what the forZe players are doing, so I can just walk out of A apps every single time without getting noticed. It's uncanny how successful they're being about it. Because it's not a big secret. It's not like this is something new that they've just figured out. They've been doing it for months.
Yeah.
And they're still finding success with it. So they're obviously being able to pull the right strings of every CT side in order to make it happen. Oh, wow. Oh, that's a big one. voxy actually makes noise, though. Starts running up the stairs. Flit didn't actually know voxy was this close up. So that's a bit of a lost opportunity. voxy getting a little bit ahead of himself. He was one of the players who actually had bought up a pistol as well that could have done significant damage. Kerrigan is also one of these players with the deagle. ChrisJ, is he going to get found out? Yes, he is. Ends up being a rather easy cleanup for forZe here. Frozen and Rops. The USP and CZ in hand, probably not going to amount to a whole lot.
Well, Jerry does drop Frozen, and the follow-up onto Robs. This is a pretty good sign of things to come for forZe if they're able to win runs like this.
Do it so cleanly.
So cleanly, without much of a contest from mousesports. You are going to get a buy into this one.
Just general fact of like having Jerry frag out early is also a sign of good things to come more often than not. Your in-game leader can be one of the heavy contributors on that end as well. You're living a pretty sweet life. Double ops coming right out the gate from mousesports. ChrisJ has picked it up together with voxic. See if they find results for it immediately, but this is some tempo. Kerrigan's still going to win out the first duel versus Face Crack. That's really important, even though it has taken out to 40 HP. Still all he needed to do. Continued aggression from Flit through BF's not going to be successful either, and now forZe put a bit on the back foot. Jerry not going to have as much attention being brought to other places on the map, so it might be a little bit more difficult for him to just waddle out from A-holes here. Might find the perfect timing to do. Oh, Rops has spotted him. Saw his hip, and that is a right eye peek for you.
Well, Z-Power. This is not looking good for his chances, as Carrigan knows exactly where he is, pre-fires his position, and while he just talked about how great of a clean run it was from forZe, well, mousesports have one of their own.
Bring it right back, and this was probably one of the bigger ones in that sense, because they were going up against a fully kitted out forZe team. They still have the opportunity to buy up again here, so it's all good and dandy, but mousesports securing their economy early on is obviously pretty damn big.
1-7. Looking as though Z-Power wants to make his way through Palace again for these opening picks and just get a chance on it. Hits the box and ChrisJ. There's actually nothing showing and he still gets hit through the box. He's got to be wondering what the hell is going on here.
It's dangerous out there.
It is, definitely, if you're a mousesports player.
Yeah, stray bullets flying left and right. Taking no prisoners whatsoever. So, no kill yet for forZe, but my oh my have they done damage. Mox is going to miss a shot onto one of the players barging out from the apps, and just like that, 2 frags go back in the favor of him. Make that 3. Face crack follows up again. forZe go from a little bit of a labored time to actually having a bomb plant and pretty much a free round. There's not really a whole lot use for ChrisJ and ropz to run back and trying to retake this with a combined HP of 71.
So the time does just tick away. forZe again successful on the opening attempts. I feel like even though they don't get a kill, the amount of damage they do is really impactful because it scares ChrisJ off from even doing anything. You know, he's dropped to 41. And forZe, I don't know how you can be so consistent on it.
It's really well done, and they know the fact that they've been, because they've put the players down on solo HP, and they can't play necessarily the same positions that they normally would. Like, you can be perfectly fine going into an angle knowing that, yeah, that there's a likelihood that somebody's going to fire back at you, but you're like, do you have a headshot angle?
Yeah.
Something to that effect. So maybe you take 50 damage. You can back off of that reposition and then play perfectly fine, knowing that you've gotten a positive trade and bail out. That's not the case anymore for Chris and ropz in that situation. Oh, Z-Power usually hits those. ropz is lucky to stay alive. That smoke is not going to be very good either. It's a pretty significant gap.
Yeah, massive gap. He was kind of hoping the timing on the Molotov would have been gone by the time the smoke came, and then obviously it wasn't, so.
You'd be a little bit shook by running into Z-Power that close up. Yeah, Execute comes in. Only 2 players towards the bomb site here right now for mousesports. Heavy catwalk presence. See how quickly they can be about rotating around. ropz has been able to dodge the Molotov, at least for the time being. Okay, starts to burn a little bit, but goes back into it. I'm pretty sure he's been heard. But, whoa, okay, then woxic. The double kill comes in. ropz chimes in with 1, and what was looking so promising has gone very, very wrong here for forZe.
Yeah, well, Jerry the bomb has hit the deck. Fist crack will do everything in his power to find a way back into this, but it's not going to be easy, to say the least. 19 HP coming back in through ramp, 40 seconds. mousesports covering the bomb.
Yeah, the hope has to be that you find at least 1 kill here. If you can drop woxic, that's great.
Oh, there's no drop in woxic.
No, not in that angle. 4 kills for the Turkish Opper. One double kill just really took the oomph out of the push from forZe. They were even a little bit late. It felt like once they had the Molotov down, that's their go-to. Well, that's the prime time really to push up on the site. But they held back. The entire Molotov fizzles. ropz gets an opportunity to reposition as well. And all the utility that forZe used doesn't really come into fruition. Also allows for rotations to come in time for mousesports. It's a bit of an odd one in that, but here we find ourselves back to pistols. forZe. See if they execute a little bit quicker with this one. Yeah, already out of apps.
Well, woxic back towards the ticket box this time. He's going to be overwhelmed by pistols, and they've got his op. That is just not fair. They just completely overrun woxic. He can't do anything. Carrigan wasn't quite close enough to help him, so the bomb plant is coming in.
Yeah, he does make sure that he just keeps them at bay, though. They can't get further into T-spawn and potentially pick him off. That would have been a bit of a disaster for mousesports in terms of the retake. Oh, solid damage being done here so far, though. Flit down to 13 HP. Ilmazer still finds 1 more. That's all the weaponry, though, out of the hands. Flit. That's a big kill onto Kerrigan. Rops knows where the last player is. Does he have the balls to hold it? Oh, Jerry, all right. I don't know how Jerry does it, but he seems to be more accurate while moving with that deagle than anything else. And forZe did this on Mirage the last time around. They played it. They bring rounds back when they're not supposed to. I think when we saw them play Mirage against, well, in their decider match versus X Epsilon, they did this on their way to a bit of a stomping. Thought X Epsilon maybe would have a chance to bring it back, get a couple of rounds on the board, establish their CT side economy. Instead, forZe pulled out the exact same strat, the A execute with pistols, overwhelmed the player playing by ticket, and from there on out, everything gets pretty chaotic. mousesports do, I guess, make it costs in a sense, but obviously that's a round they're meant to have. Now looking at the buy from forZe, they've turned the tides completely. Kerrigan actually opting in for a full committal from Moss. Never thought I'd say those words, but
yeah, exactly.
there we go. Rops as well. This is a terrible buy. Really,
it is really bad.
I guess they're just hoping to catch forZe off guard here with the forced buy.
Will it work though? Even if you get caught off guard, it's not a whole lot. Well, Kerrigan is going to get destroyed. Yeah. The rest of them are destroyed, and christian will get one. Yeah. So there's something.
Yeah, something. It's not something good, but it's something. Well, they've lost pretty much everything they've invested immediately. We're 30 seconds into the round, and forZe have a firm grip on it. Still one FAMAS in play here on Rops over towards the A bomb site, but with the way they're positioned now with the bomb towards the bomb site, you'd imagine that this becomes a B split through catwalk for forZe.
Oh, nice shot from chrisJ. He'll fall back in towards ladder room with a smoke gun out as well. Under a minute left on the clock to play with, and forZe, well, they're looking solid so far as they hop in towards the site. Z-Power will pick off chrisJ. It's all on Rops in a 1 versus 3 here with a FAMAS to his name.
It's going to get subbed out pretty quickly.
Yeah, as soon as you have any other option but a FAMAS, you take it.
Yep. Sees the Glock on the ground. It's upgraded it all the way from a FAMAS to an AK, and with 15 HP, you duck out. Tuck your tail either in A pit or A halls, and you're going to be pretty happy about that. Bringing it into the next round. The problem is, you can't really excuse yourself and come up with a good enough excuse to buy up if you're mousesports in the following round either. So while it's nice that Rops is able to bring an AK in, it's going to be hard to get anything around it to supplement its power. He's going to have to do it primarily alone. That's really what we're looking at.
Well, 5-5, much closer than forZe probably be wanting at the minute. They'd like to try and end this half ahead by quite a bit on their T side. That generally is the side where we see them do a lot. So obviously, getting a buffer against mousesports would not be too frowned upon. So they have got a buy here that's looking pretty solid in comparison to that of mousesports. And I feel like forZe have actually dominated the economy game for a little bit. So mousesports are going to be struggling for at least this round. In the next one, they'll have money.
That was the AK put out of play. It goes from Rops right onto Kerrigan, and none of them are actually able to do much of anything. Flit with a MAC-10 sent out as a bit of a scout on the B-bomb site. Finds 2, and with voxy getting a kill onto FaceCrack, they know exactly where the last remaining player is. He has that AK in hand, but any hopes of winning a round is, well, more or less gone. Bomb is dropped back in T-spawn, so somebody needs to get a hold of that and group up, but not actually advisable to start straying off on your own. Flit is down to 4 HP here, so you can't exactly allow voxy to just have free reign. Bombs should be planted rather shortly. And now we'll see actually if there's any interest on the side of forZe to actually go hunting once the bomb is planted.
I mean, they will have money on quite a few players. I think Jerry's pretty expendable at this point, so you probably send him off. He's actually the closest player.
Yeah.
So Jerry certainly has woxic set in his sights, but woxic goes towards ramp. Jerry's up towards Palace. Still a little bit far away. Z-Power will cross over and woxic.
Did he see
Molotov
that?
ramp, yeah. Molotov's off the ramp to keep them at bay. He's going to go back for more, taking a fight, lining them up. That's 2 kills from woxic. He has 4 kills. And obviously, the last player is Flip, 4 HP. I don't think he'll want to get too close to this T-spawn area. He's actually just sprinting through.
Yeah, he's going for it because he knows that getting rid of an AK is a pretty big deal, but woxic thinks better of it. Is he going to try to get the op?
Oh my god,
yes,
this is a big win for... That's a big win for woxic, all things
really
considered.
big one.
And look how much money he's got left over as well.
I mean, that pretty much saved him $4,700. He would have had enough money to get the op, but now he gets all the utility. He gets to have, well, enough money to drop over for Kerrigan. Life's pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
For forZe, obviously, you had to throw quite a bit of the kitchen sink to see if you could get anything out of that, and you didn't. So it has taken a little bit of a shot to your economy, but they're going to be fine for now. And obviously, they're not looking to lose following rounds here, so we'll see what it comes to. woxic with a aggressive setup together with Robs. I think if Almazer actually peers out here to the opening, him or Jerry, that's going to be a rather rapid end to their input this round.
These invitational finals are always sort of bittersweet because for me, I want to see both teams in this tournament, right?
I wouldn't be opposed, right? Like I would have loved to see.
Reasons.
Yeah, I would have loved to see mousesports already have an invite in that sense, and forZe obviously having the Cinderella run of, you know, invitational number 900 because they always get this to this stage.
Yeah.
And actually make it through, not have to deal with visas, obviously, and get messed up by that. There we go. Quick execution and the follow up, but. Pretty decent response so far from forZe. woxic now trapped. Ooh. This is the first chance. Flit knows that there's one more player on site. Not able to get him, but there's only ChrisJ left. In a flurry of frags, forZe are able to win out the trade. So it was looking very, very promising for mousesports, but actually there was a group of players coming through connector on the side of forZe that kept finding picks, especially the ones trying to rotate over from catwalk that set them off on the right foot.
Yeah. And this is not going to be a great buy from mousesports. We've seen a couple of saves coming through so far, and obviously you can use that code SAVE over at GG.Bet.com. Make sure you head over there to ensure your bet. There's no waiting times, no queues, no rejections, and no business hours.
Have at it at any given time, yeah. Code SAVE, S-A-V-E. woxic, well, he's not a believer in saving, but he's a believer in scavenging. He's gotten himself an AK. Not for long, though, but he did get the chance to kind of feel the weight of the weapon.
Yeah.
So man advantage is maintained for forZe. And they don't want to end up in a...
Oh, no, the timing.
Yep, okay, well, it goes by unscathed. He's all right for now. I think that's probably one of the things that's in the back of forZe's head, the fact... Oh, well, when you look at what happened in the first game they played on Mirage versus mousesports, they made so many silly individual mistakes that really just put them out of any chance of winning the game. That they want to avoid that at all cost. Kerrigan, he finds a lurking Almazer.
Well, 3v3, under a minute left on the clock. ChrisJ letting the player walk across in towards the B bomb site. Frozen is going to be overrun, but ChrisJ with the deagle, looking for the second. Unfortunately, cannot connect, and Kerrigan, he has got an AK and Kevlar. With 35 seconds left, the bomb will get planted here. Z-Power confirms, and Flit crossing into the open. Kerrigan had a chance, but Flit with the headshot. It's 8-5, and forZe looking pretty solid here.
Yeah, keep in mind, mousesports started off with a pistol win, and then the subsequent 2 rounds.
Yeah, and then the other 2 rounds that have come in have just been very sporadic and really not showing signs of life.
Yeah, so this is, again, forZe, T-side, Mirage.
We're getting used to that, right?
Yeah, but it's cool to see. Again, we're way too used to seeing up-and-coming teams having, not necessarily fluky halves, but, again, not being able to play up to that par too often. They'll have it way too sporadically, and they'll not necessarily do it as well versus really good teams, and there's no doubt that mousesports are a super solid team. Look at ChrisJ getting mowed down through the smoke. Face crack. Knows his angles. now knows that he's put his team 1 man up. Kerrigan really wanted that AWP, and he's going to get it as well. Flit, though, meanwhile, has been able to actually make it up into connector. I think that's been gone unspotted as well, but Rops seems to have seen something.
Well, Mazer is on towards the bomb site. He wanted that kill, but Z-Power's too quick. Kerrigan takes it away from him. And we'll be a 5v3 here with mousesports, not really showing too much hope. So, probably a save attempt again in the last round, but forZe gets one. Flit able to step in. And something forZe was excellent at for mousesports was getting those multi-kills on the CT side earlier. Hasn't really shown that here on Mirage. We haven't really seen that potential, really.
Yeah, haven't really gotten into the fray of things. forZe is keeping tabs on it. Jerry tagged down to 13 HP. He's going to get the hell out from Catwalk. He's like, nope, not doing any of that.
Because his teammate's flanking as well. So forZe, he is going to fall. Rop's hiding away, making sure that he gets into the next one.
Yeah, last time forZe wanted to hunt for the last remaining weapon. It became a costly affair. They do have the money to potentially do this, but I don't think they're too worried because they know that there's not going to be a force spike coming in from mousesports off of this. So, yeah, not the incessant hunt that it was for forZe. And surely there's no purchase behind this for mousesports. Actually, I say that obviously it's going to be, because it's the last round of the half, it's just going to be garbage buy. That's what it is. So, yes, of course they're going to be buying up here. They want to get to 6 rounds, but it's a really, really shoddy buy.
Yeah, it's
Christie doesn't have a rifle, just a FAMAS out there.
It is pretty rough, but we'll see if forZe can make it better. He goes in towards ramp, Molotov burning.
They only have 1 defuse kit.
Yeah, at least they have 1.
Yeah,
but they could have had 2. forZe has 1.1k.
Yeah.
Oh, Mazer does get rid of forZe, doesn't even matter. Rops will pick up 2, and that's
well
the
done.
bomb. That's the bomb as well.
Look at Face Crack, though. He's out and about.
Doesn't even matter. Jerry's got him.
Well, he was the fail-safe.
Yeah, there was no way he was getting out of there.
Yeah, he's also hearing the footsteps from Kerrigan coming in through spawn as well, so he can be in a position to just hang out and wait. If Kerrigan wants to move in towards the site, doesn't even allow him to do that. forZe left alone with Moss 1v3. Jerry's at low HP, so that is something. It's 2 ops, so it can be a little bit awkward for forZe, but oh, Z-Power, rare miss. Actually double scoped there while tracking. Oh man, that nade. Ooh, just a little bit too long. Jerry just loses 1 HP off of it, and Face Crack secured himself almost there to secure double figures for forZe in the first half. And again, even contributions all across the board for forZe.
Yeah,
3 at 9, and
it's a team effort, right?
Yeah,
always is, it seems.
Pretty much, and again, it's good to see the consistency within this team.
Well, here's your odds from GG.Bet, 3.96 from mousesports, forZe 1.22. And of course, you can head over to gg.bet.com and obviously use the code SAVE, all capitals, S-A-V-E, to ensure your bet. Again, there's no business stars, there's no queues, and there's no rejections.
Yeah, safe and easy. Just how you like it. And I'm pretty sure mousesports wish they were feeling a lot more safe at this stage of the game. 10-5 is not necessarily comfort, like their comfort space, but a 1 pistol is obviously going to do a lot for you. But they got to this point with the 1 pistol. And that's really the worrying part. As you said, the 2 rounds they got outside of that felt not necessarily off the back of excellent team play or outplaying forwards. It's more like, all right, it's one of those sporadic rounds where like haphazardly you run into. It was very much all about force here in this first half.
I've always felt, though, Mirage can be a map that mousesports sometimes look a little bit shaky on, because we've seen in the minor qualifiers, they look kind of rough there.
They wouldn't have vetoed it versus Heroic, right, if they felt supremely confident on it. So that's a little bit surprised as to why we got to see it here, but
especially leaving Inferno in as the decider as well. It's a bit of a wild card, but we'll see if mousesports can pull it back here on the second half. Their T side is generally pretty strong, but forZe are going to be a man down into the pistol. FaceCrank looking for a pick on towards forZe.
Really trying.
Yeah, really trying, but forZe just stops him in his tracks.
Well, 3v5 retake, no 1 defuse kit on Flit. You do have 2 flashes as well. They're probably not going to be used to res it right now. 2 frags going your way, but you're starting to run out of time. Oh, that's a shot and a half from Flit, though. forZe removed. Flit needs to get on the bomb, though. Okay, he decides to remove one of the players first. Gonna flash and then drop the flashes, I'm assuming, while doing this. Oh, and I don't think Kerrigan actually expected that to be a player with a defuse kit, so went for the second player instead, thinking he had potentially a little bit more time, but forZe somehow snagged that round back. They can thank Flit all the way until Sunday for that one.
Yeah, the recovery of that pistol is kind of ridiculous. Everything's looking so solid for mousesports. It really shouldn't have been even a chance for forZe to pick that up. So forZe will be very happy with the pistol win, and they could actually sail on to victory here if they keep this level of performance up. mousesports coming into this with a Krieg onto ChrisJ. We know how successful he can be with this. Let's see if he can get it done as he runs straight in towards apartments. They've also got one in ROPS, which is also pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
We've seen some incredible plays from mousesports just off these 2 guys with Kriegs, so forZe have to respect it, and they generally do. Will Mazer close up towards the apartments. Flash goes in. There's the peek of the MP9, nearly the transfer, but ChrisJ able to find the trade in. Now they know there is a Krieg up in the apartments.
Crack and Jerry gonna peruse over towards the opening of a pit. That's also where a whole lot of mousesports players are going. They're actually wearing through the smoke. Yeah, standing at the edge. That's brazen. Not really gonna pay off either. One drops down. Jerry's still doing a good job of keeping things at bay. Kerrigan falls, and no real follow just yet. And Jerry's able to put a lot of damage into Robs. Easy kill for Z-Power there as he gets the angle on an unassuming ChrisJ. So Rob does have an SG, but he's also got 29 HP, and that's really the big danger at this point. We know the man has done some crazy things in the past. He's definitely been one of the players in the Heroic series that kept them in this, but Z-Power provides, or proves to be too powerful.
Yeah, definitely provides some entertainment as well.
Yeah,
that is a nutshell.
what he's here for. As I said, like his headshot ratio with a scout has to be super duper high compared to everyone else, it feels like.
Yeah, he's always hitting the shots as well. He has some crazy stats that some people probably just don't have, right? It's just like
I was looking at that, especially leading into Moscow. Every type of statistical category, and he kind of just outscores everyone in most things, even though he's an opper.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, we always bring up this point where who's going to be at the top of the scoreboard for forZe. It's, you know, Z-Power can be fun at the middle of the scoreboard, and he still has all these consistent performances. So it just shows the depth on forZe that you can have a player matching a lot of other pros in a lot of different categories and also not even be top of the scoreboard.
Absolutely.
I mean, no one's beating Jim on, you know, death ratio, though.
No, he's got that locked down for probably the next couple of years. Z-Power didn't seem as comfortable with the scope on the SG as he does with the scope on the AWP. But having that mid position obviously makes sense that he has a long-range rifle. I think, like, for potential upgrades in the future, if they manage to hold on to this SG, it should go into the hands of someone like Flit or Jerry. Speaking of Jerry, he finds 2 in middle. So he's going to rack up a fair bit of cash, and, well, there goes the SG. And Flit.
Yeah, forZe coming in huge there. It's going to be falling apart for mousesports yet again. Should be 13-5 here for forZe. And we're only looking at 3 away from taking Mirage in a wildly convincing fashion.
It's what they would have needed as well, though. Keep in mind, map number 2 is Dust 2. It's not looked pretty for the better part of it when you've been forZe. But here on Mirage, definitely feeling at home. And what a difference a couple of days make, right? Because we saw them playing in the first decider game, where it's advancement game from the group stages versus mousesports on this map, and they were making silly mistakes. They were not playing up to the forZe level, and they lost 16-10 as a result. And now, obviously, the worst they could lose, potentially, which obviously would have been pretty worrying if they were to do so, is 16-13. So there's already improvement in terms of scoreline, but I think it's easy to see the differences in just general play from the Russian team.
Well, it will be Z-Power who picks off Chris J.
Again, so mobile, so
wow.
diverse. That's a cheeky peek from forZe.
Well, Smoke is ready for Carrigan to go in towards the A bomb site. Rops up in Palace. Z-Power will catch one player out towards middle. It's forZe. Rops able to pick up Flit with another kill from Jerry coming through. It's Woxic on 56 HP, has received quite a bit of damage on board. And this still isn't looking favorable to mousesports whatsoever, as Jerry in CT with a grenade coming in doesn't do too much damage, so Carrigan should get this bomb plant in. But holding on to it is going to be the difficult part. As forZe start to suffocate the A bomb site in this retake. They will check and they will find Carrigan. Almazer able to pick up one as well. We're looking at a 14-5 scoreline with forZe showing no signs of stopping.
They really want to go to China, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. I mean, I don't think they'll have too many visa problems going to China, right?
I'm trying to think how it is with Russians if they need a visa at all.
Maybe not.
To China.
That could be awesome.
That's even better, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've definitely had Russian participants in China at previous events. So,
I mean, the US is always a troublesome one for a lot of people everywhere.
Yeah, so. Exactly. It doesn't really, in that sense, doesn't discriminate. It's just tough to get a visa.
Well, Z-Power, he's going to be trying to spam through the smokes. mousesports are up here. Chris J able to pick off Flit. It's a man advantage for mousesports. A little bit of a change in pace.
Yeah, definitely catches one of them off guard, but overall damage is pretty significant on Chris J and Rops here. Going with the man disadvantage, forZe can be able to fight back into it. A lot of this is going to come down to what FaceCrack can do. Right now he's very much alone. Jerry is going to rotate back in towards Ticket, but you can see the bomb moving from mousesports on the minimap over towards A. They're setting up for some shenanigans. Molotov, very short from Jerry, but I guess that makes you believe that Voxic shouldn't be expecting that angle from FaceCrack, but somehow he does. Now, getting picked apart one by one. Z-Power, you need to do something insane. You need to do it right now. That's a good start. This is going to buy time for a Mauser, potentially.
Well, this is looking, for the first time ever, good for mousesports, it seems.
Well, you say that for the time being. Almazer still has potential here to find the right timing to sneak behind. We'll see how... Oh, okay, well, give that a one up.
Yep, there we go. Woxic's ready for it. forZe's ready for it.
There's no ways checks for forZe, right? That is the round. Very curious as to why he pre-fired that angle. Seems like a bit of an odd one, but there we are. Nice shot from Z-Power. Now, the job is all about getting out of here alive. Fair enough, you want to do as much damage as possible to the mousesports team, but it's not like your buddies have too much HP here, so you need to get out, and you're not able to. That is probably one of the downsides he has, and again, kind of goes hand in hand with how aggressive he can be at times, but he has an affinity for overstaying his welcome at times in situations where he very clearly needs to save and try to stick with that weapon. Maybe we could take a listen or two from James. But
exactly. I think, well, there's some lessons, you know, take it to a certain extent. Maybe not quite as much, but
they go like in pretty separate directions. Obviously, both fantastic oppers. James is more on the careful side, and Z-Power probably a little bit too much
reckless,
on the reckless side. Yeah.
Maybe if we combine both of them, we'll have the perfect opper.
That would be a pretty god tier player. They are both from Russia.
Yeah.
So it's definitely growing well in terms of scoped talents in the region.
Yeah, especially, they've got a very strong region for oppers, right? In comparison to the likes of Sweden, who really didn't have one for a long time. I think Nock could potentially be it. But obviously, he needs some more time to prove himself on the big stages.
Absolutely true. Now, it's a bit of a proving time for mousesports. If they can actually bring this back a little bit, Flit finds Kerrigan. Doesn't actually take that much damage as well. Hasn't been able to pick up the weapon just yet, but, well, this is B execute. Mousesports are going to come to a completely open B bomb site, and they're going to be super happy about that. Flit strolls out from ladder room and gets found by a patient forZe.
Well, Frozen, he's going to be waiting for more to come his way, and he will miss quite a few shots and be dropped to 6 HP. Frozen picks up one, chrsJ finds the other to help out his teammate. So it is Z-Power alone with Kevlar, and well, if he has a place to save, he could buy an AWP in Kevlar. Like, he has enough money left over here. Obviously, that would be ideal for him. So saving is pretty important in this position. He will start to sprint away. Or at least try and make his way out of jungle. 10 seconds left, maybe a little bit more due to the time after. He's got players pretty close to, but mousesports aren't really in a position to hunt him, so he will be given the chance to save his UMP. And well, he's got plenty of cash. He can even maybe think about dropping one of the players on his own team. But the position here for forZe is actually a little bit questionable. Do they want to go for a full buy, or do they want to take a little bit of a half buy?
We definitely have the... Well, there's definitely reason to weigh up both of them. That's a possibility, but I don't know.
Just going for the buy.
Yeah, there's...
I like the C-Power is just given his other teammate a UMP. Almi is just pretty good with that, so we'll see if he can wield it. And obviously the odds for GG.Bet, 9.66 for mousesports, so I think that's probably the worst odds we've seen from mousesports so far in this tournament.
Yeah, they've usually been on the opposite end where they are like sitting there at 1 in odds and their opponent's at 14.29 or something.
Very simple mid-take from mousesports, smoke up towards window. They should realize it's quiet, too quiet at this point for forZe. They're going to be everywhere but mid. 3 players on the A bomb site, 2 inside of the B bomb site, and they've elected to just give middle to mousesports.
I don't really want to fuss about it, do they? Question is that creates for some pretty awkward rotation times. As you can see, there's a significant distance, and that's also cut off currently by Kerrigan and Window. If they were to make a move here, so we'll see how long they stay with it. In any case, it requires quite a lot. I like the positioning here, though, from Flit in a tower with his teammate below him. That means that they can check for catwalk as well. But it seems like this might just be a ruse. Robs finds one. Z-Power does the same. This is actually going to be B committal. All right, Flit actually a little bit confused as to where people were coming from. Kind of surprised by that. Should have heard the gunshots coming from beneath, but nonetheless, here we are. 1v3. Rob's down to 6 HP, but still very much alive and kicking in a Z-Power. Might have started off well by finding Kerrigan and Connector, but that's all you've been able to do for this one. He's going to have to wait it out. Rob's actually being very aggressive here for how little HP he has, but he knows he's got the money to supplement it.
Well, Z-Power falling further back, he's attempting to save it. And it feels like at this point, mousesports are building up momentum. We all know how quickly things can shift. forZe just needs to sort of roll into 2-round wins, and that's us on the second. The map under the belt of the Russian team, but getting those 2 rounds might feel like a marathon for them.
Yeah, they had a couple of issues closing out maps earlier in the semifinals as well.
They've had that issue against quite a lot of teams. Especially in grand finals, these invitationals. The final they played against Heroic in the Chicago Invitational.
Yeah,
it went on. Yeah.
It lasted for a bit, didn't it?
They had like 5 map points in overpass, and we went to 4 or 5 overtimes, and then they lost it, and we had to play a 3rd map.
Yeah,
yeah, we had a long game that day.
If that hadn't been so long, maybe they would have had time to apply for visas in time.
Exactly. Well, hopping through the window, it's going to be mousesports. It's chrsJ Frozen with 2 kills. Flit able to find one back for the CT side, but this shot from Z-Power, he will get one in the end.
It's just not enough, is it?
It's just not enough at all. Jerry coming back in, USP in hand. The best he can hope for is 1 kill, and it's not going to come his way as Kerrigan will dome him. So 14-9, mousesports 1 away from double figures.
Yeah. Fun, though, to see the attempt being made. And I think in a world where he lands that first attempt on Kerrigan as he flies past, then all of a sudden you create enough space for yourself if you're Z-Power to potentially be a continued nuisance. Actually win us out for his team, but Not going to happen this time around. He does have another op, though. Just the supply never ends. And yet again, it's the quick catwalk take from Chris J. Flit has not gone face-to-face with him just yet. He should be aware, though, that Chris J is expecting this. For now, it is a bit of a standoff. Nice flash. And oh boy, forZe were ready for that.
Well, there's the kill from forZe, on towards FaZe. It's going to be a 4v4, Z-Power able to hold off Robs. Flit, oh no, that should have been a kill realistically if he'd checked that corner. He looked like he was going to do so, but forZe will take him down. It's into a 3v3. They'll stand on the bomb sites. mousesports with good positions, but they just have to try and hold off this forZe retake attempt. Almeister will drop forZe. Now Carrigan's left in the open. Headshot comes in, just not going to expect him to be there, is he? So Jerry will try to get there, but it's not enough yet. Z-Power trying to assist him from jungle, but woxic is taking away Jerry, and that's enough for Z-Power just to tuck tail and leave.
Yep. Becomes too much to deal with. Obviously, 15 seconds left on the timer, and 2 players to find. That's going to be really tough to do. I'm just going to hear Carrigan here running as well, and at least gets rid of all the mousesports players, but they're not pressed for money at this stage. As you can see, 4 players actually near that 10K mark. So they can have a field day at just throwing bodies at whatever's left on the side of forZe after these kind of rounds. The live odds from GG.Bet.com is still going to favor forZe, though. 1.23 for them to close out their own map pick. 3.94 for mousesports. Now then, we've seen forZe been able to get close. They've gotten into positions where rounds are winnable, but they're not getting any closer to actually winning rounds. woxic with a great opening from Jerry and onto Jerry from Pit. That puts some even more pressure on Z-Power, who does have that op saved from the previous round. The rest of the team doesn't really have too much Flit with an UMP, but outside of that, it's mainly Kevlar and pistols.
Well, mousesports, this is a long road back to a comeback, but they seem to be walking it pretty well. FaZe's going to be staying on default. The execute coming in, Molotov, smokes, everything ready to come on through. As FaZe is just going to be standing on default. They haven't even checked him. They have no idea he is here, and that might be a problem for them. He will walk out, 1 kill, looking for the bomb planter, but Carrigan will stop him. And Z-Power holds the cross. woxic runs right into it. He will fake the flee, but it's not going to happen. And it's a 2v2 here with Almeister and T-Spawn. forZe, they do this quite a bit. They do this when they really shouldn't have a round win, and they make it happen. So mousesports need to be careful. They've got Kit alive and Z-Power. They have time to play with here.
They don't have a smoke, though.
Chris Chase heard the running in Palace. Carrigan knows this. Almeister's starting to run. That's the kill, and well, mousesports played it well. Z-Power has to fall away. Oh my god, Carrigan jumping over the top, lands the headshot on the Z-Power, and he will not have, well, he will have an op, but he'll not have all the money that he had in the bank beforehand.
Yeah. Well, is this actually going to slip out of the hands of forZe? They were looking, well, to be on a surefire way to map number 2 with a win in the pocket. mousesports not really looking to be too interested in letting that happen.
Well, Carrigan holding off the underpass, pushing the CTs. He's doing an okay job at it. He will get 1. FaZe will finish him off. He only gets the double there, Carrigan. Rob's just making his way through. Very cool. No pun intended, of course. Almeister will drop Robs, and we're into a 3v3. Pierce crack. Back in the Molotov. Sprays away. Burns alive. As forZe won't get rid of him, it's into another equilibrium as the bomb plant is coming in. Jerry's just going to start running towards it, thinking the bomb plant was coming through, but forZe came off it. Able to pick up the headshot, and I'll miss it. A 1v2 clutch is required of him. He'll start to move in towards short, checking apartments. He's got a Molotov and a nade still available to him, and spots forZe. Nade comes in, that might be enough to drop forZe, it should be, and there it is. He's got a Molotov, that's perfect for clearing the bench.
Oh, does he know though? It seemed like he had an idea.
He's going to use it for either one of these angles, surely. Van or for the bench.
Oh, how deep is he going to be though? Is he going to check behind the bench?
He's realized the bench is a possibility. woxy just takes it.
He seemed so aware of that being a potential. You could see he was constantly switching between the initial position from forZe and then on to where voxy was hiding. I just really couldn't commit himself, I guess, in his aim to really look that way. And yeah, pause coming in for forZe. They're feeling it right now. It's starting to breathe down their neck. They've been here before. They've had these issues. It's the same skeleton creeping out of the closet.
Yeah. Well, we seen, I believe it was 14-5 that forZe were up. And obviously, I've let that slip. mousesports. Definitely looking like a solid force on the T side. If they had done slightly better on their CT side, you know, mousesports realistically, you know, they could have taken Mirage. Made life easier for themselves. Dust 2 coming up after this proves to be a bloodbath if, you know, the results we've seen forZe recently getting and obviously their improvements we've seen today, if they continue, you know, that could be a very close one as well.
Now then, another pause has gone through and we're about to get back into the swing of things. forZe, again, doing half investment. They haven't been too successful with these after, obviously, bringing it back in the first half, but I guess if you don't try, you don't really stand a chance to actually get something out of it. But it's going to be the double push on Catwalk, maybe with a boost up. Actually, no, it's just Flit being tucked away inside of ladder room.
foxy, he is close towards ramp, and Zpar's here. Does take his chance, but will not hit the shot. Very difficult to connect that one, and Rops is going to get dropped by Jerry. MP9 traded for an SG.
Is he going to drop the Krieg down for his buddy?
No, we just stand on his head.
All right. That's also one way of doing it. He's going to try to then, well, slowly creep out of the sight here, and if Kerrigan's not willing to speak for it, it gives opportunities for Jerry to be a nuisance to other mousesports players.
You're right, though. It definitely should have given his teammate an MP9 in that position.
Maybe just a little bit weary about the prospect of mousesports players coming up to try to trade that, wanting to have his gun up at all times. But the stack currently from forZe is looking to be towards the right bomb site. There's only on Maz that are really over towards the B bomb site, and you have Flit who could very quickly swing in from connector. They're just looking to be just off of contact. One flash, and there we go. All right, Z-Power and Face Crack taken out of it, and Jerry with the Krieg. Not going to be as successful as he would have liked. 2 kills in total, but they needed one more. foxy tagged up. That's all she wrote. Flit, 24 HP, has full Kevlar. He's going to try to wrap around all the way to see if he can find a weapon somewhere, but that's going to be a tough task. Again, needs to be worried about the bomb as well. And just bringing full Kevlar into the next round is not a bad thing by any means.
Well, Flit had a pretty crazy performance earlier, didn't he? He was stepping up, having a lot of impact for forZe. It just takes one of those runs here to bring them to that point. You know, any of these individuals can step up. This could be one that they could do it in, as Flit will actually get an opportunity to grab an AWP. Oh, so close. Nearly gets the AWP, just gets thrown away from him. Just gets snatched away from him in the last few seconds.
mousesports, they're climbing closer here. Look at this run they've set off to here. It's 8 rounds. 8 rounds in a row. without forZe having an answer. They've gotten close, just not close enough, and maybe this is going to do the trick. Double op setups, Jerry on the call. Oh, forZe is this time the one being sent up for aggression. Oh, bullet just not connecting fully. Through the wall we go, and Jerry not going to win out the duel as well. It's probably the worst time to have actually two ops nearby each other in that scenario. Even though Flit answers that. That's a trade with a bitter taste in your mouth. 3 to 4, both ops down. 0 impact in total. These quick catwalk pushes have been everything for mousesports here on this T side.
Well, FizzCrack is going to peek through chrisJ. He will fall, and Robs does find success on towards FizzCrack. So mousesports still with the advantage, but forZe still stand a chance. As they'll start to come back in, Almazor will spot one crossing towards Tetris. woxic caught looking the wrong way. Nearly spins around to find it, but Robs and Carrigan quick to relocate their aim, and we're even. What a way this would be for forZe to lose their map pick.
That'd be absolutely dreadful, like a terrifying way. They were up, what, 14 to 5?
Yeah. I don't know how you can mentally come back from that as well when you move into the second map that just isn't your pick.
That would be super duper rough. There's no doubt about it.
3.24 for forZe. The odds have shifted in mousesports' favor, and I don't think you can really bet against it.
No, with the way it's going right now, forZe are not able to deal with it. And again, mousesports are finding so much out of these quick catwalk pushes, whether it's chrisJ, forZe, as we saw in the last round, or whoever it might be. They seem to always put the right amount of pressure on forZe to keep them guessing and continuously abuse them afterwards. Not many rounds we could say that we've seen forZe actually have a net advantage on the CT side. There's a gap in the smoke, but not really something mousesports are too worried about, as they're going to set up for a B split here. FizzCrack's been spotted and dealt with accordingly.
Yeah, well, woxic's coming with 2 kills, and too often we see this happen for the liking of forZe. It's a 3v4, looking likely we'll see mousesports snatch map point first. And I don't think I was expecting that, and I don't think anyone at home would have expected that either.
Definitely not, but the story stays the same for forZe. They put up an excellent T side yet again, and it's their CT side that's just lacking that little something to push them over the edge, because they've had plenty of opportunities. They've had everything at their disposal to really get those last 2 rounds, but their inner demons coming back to haunt them. Right now, mousesports finally back in the lead. 14 to 5 is now 14 to 15.
Yeah, that is a little bit mental, isn't it? I don't really know what you can do forZe. I think you might as well just take a little pause here, ring up sports psychologist, get them to come out to each one of your rooms, and
well, either that or strat roulette, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like all Jewel Beretta crouch through B.
Yeah, why not? Because they're getting outplayed right now. They've
this will be the one they win, though.
Yeah, it's bringing us to overtime. It wouldn't be a forZe finals without an OT.
Definitely
Power, not the ideal spawn either, so he goes down. Still another op in play, not on Jerry this time. It's still on Almazor. And with him being towards the B bomb site, they should actually just stack up over towards A here. But look at how quick mousesports are. Bomb spotted though, but Chris, quick reply. Jerry finds 2. That's very well done. Now Flit, can you find Chris? Yes, you can.
Well, 2v2 here, forZe. Good chance. Not over yet. Overtime is a real possibility, but we'll see if mousesports can stop that from happening as Carrigan.
The jump, the mouse wheel jump. I think that might have given away where he is. It did. And now woxic, been playing excellently so far. 26 frag. He has to make it 28 in order to send mousesports into Dust 2.
This is almost more tilting for mousesports, though, because they've just won 10 in a row, and then they let it slip.
Well, you say...
Well, woxic is still alive.
Could let it slip, exactly.
woxic is a beast after all. He will start to make his way through T-spawn. Eventually he has to start running. He's made the right call. The B-bomb site is completely empty. And Well, that smoke will show that he's not really towards the A bomb site, so that's going to pull a rotation back over to B.
But I guess, yeah, if he does this, then that's a pretty neat little trick. Again, as you said, that is very easily spotted from being thrown outside of B apps. But him coming up through connector is not what they're expecting to see going through jungle. Oh, this is
big brain.
This is 900 IQ play.
Big brain Woxic into your 1v2. 10 seconds though.
Oh, he needs to get a move on.
No,
oh no,
he's played it too well.
If only he had 5 to 10 more seconds.
Yeah.
He would have. I think he would have pulled that off. He doesn't have to jump through window. He can walk all the way around and basically execute Flit. Have a super easy time of it, playing a 1v1 situation where he can pick and choose whatever position he wants. That would have been the big brain play. He had everything going for him. Oh, wow, what a game. It takes forZe quite a bit of time to find that very elusive 15th, but they do so at the very end. So they stay alive. They still have a hope of winning their map pick, but do you really fancy their chances with how it started? Now they're going to be restricted to 10K as well, right? So it's all the more important that they win that very first battle. That's going to have gigantic implications on their income. Just haven't gone to double ops. Oh, Mazer has been flashed aggressively. Okay, setting up for a cheeky little smoke as well, but push is going to come rather quickly in from mousesports here. Face crack down to 19 HP. He's been chased off. Oh, Flit. Yeah. Not what you wanted to see. That's going to open up CPL as well for mousesports.
Oh. Mousesports wish they could be in this position in the last round, that's for sure. And it will be all on Z-Power, 1v3. And he will take a headshot frozen onto him. So 16-15. Mousesports do reach 16 rounds, but not the time that they wished they did.
Yeah, that should have been one round earlier, right? Well, here we are. Mousesports, though, if they're able to secure 2 rounds in a row here, that means that the CT side economy is pretty much dead in the water. And usually that means we see a clean sweep, and I think that would be just too much for forZe to fight back from. As good as their T side has been, it's hard to remain flawless when there's so much pressure on the line. Woxic spots an opportunity. Oh, and actually still finds the frag, and he goes out unpunished as well. 36 HP is more than he should have had. Is he actually going to go back for more? Bit of a madman, but... Alright, that also forces a rotation from Z-Power over here. In this kind of scenario, I think forZe more or less needs to take a bit of a gamble, have the Oppers shut down or try to lock down a single site on his own, stack up the 3 remaining players on one side and see if he can actually fight back, because right now mousesports are always winning the trades because they have more numbers than you. Flit far forward on catwalk. Might get the drop on Woxic. We'll see.
Well, he has been a very aggressive player so far today, but he has been a little bit more passive this time. Rops is going to pick off Jerry. Woxic able to find Flit as well. There's only 1 kill coming in for the CT side, and unfortunately Z-Power can't do anything either. It's going to be 17-15, and mousesports, you know, 1 away from map point yet again.
Yeah, I think this is the spot where they managed to close that out in a clean fashion. 3 in a row in OT, and at that point, it should be pretty tough for them to not be able to scrape in at least 1 round on the CT side. Even though they had their issues in regulation, the force mobile might be out of gas.
Well, they're going to have to try and force themselves back into this one, as mousesports have got a far superior buy, everything they could possibly want. Open hands of Woxic, Kriegs across the board. No way case, just all Kriegs. We'll see if this boost can pay off. ChrisJ doesn't spot his head, and Almeiser waits until they come into the open. He will only get one, but really nice plays. forZe doubles up inside of middle. Carrigan will assist, and then Z-Power spotting the barrel of woxic, but it's not going to be enough surely here into the clutch as he misses the shots, and woxic finds Z-Power. It's going to be hit team 15, and yet again, map point from mousesports. The difference is this time, they have got a chance, 3 chances, shall I say, at taking it over the line.
Yeah, perfect first half. Now looking to not necessarily get the perfect second half, but just one round. That's all it takes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be perfect enough, I suppose.
Flash goes down in towards middle. ChrisJ spams through the smoke. Just looking for one more here, mousesports. forZe don't want to step a foot wrong. They can't afford to. So resmoke in towards window. Good mid-tick coming in from forZe, forcing mousesports to play much more passively, but Frozen is the only position they really didn't clear. You know, you usually see a flash in towards ladder room to clear that angle, and well, it didn't come through, so Frozen's able to capitalize. Flash eventually comes through, but Frozen's not blinded by it. He will be dropped anyway, but ChrisJ's come to help him. That's 2 for ChrisJ, looking for the third, and Z-Power, he'll be dropped by Robs. It's all in Almeiser. A 1v4 clutch is required. He's got the first, nearly the second, but it's mousesports who close Mirage.
Oh man, what a heartbreaker from forZe. They were up 14-5, and it was looking so good. We were, well, pretty much mentally ready to go into Dust 2, thinking that this is going to go all the way to 3.
Yep.
Now, this could be mousesports going to Beijing in 2.
Yeah, I honestly think that's the case here. With forZe losing in the fashion that they did, it's just going to be mentally heartbreaking as well. Like, it's just going to shatter them into a million pieces. They have to try and recover all those pieces, moving into the next one. And obviously, it's Dust 2. They performed pretty well earlier, but
yeah,
mousesports are still better than them.
They're one notch above on that map, and as good of a fight they put up against G2, I think mousesports in current form, especially considering the fact that G2 are going through their whole kind of transformation as well, you'd have to rate mousesports higher as a Dust 2 team as well. So challenge is just going to increase. Luckily, we did see, as you said, signs of improvement from forZe, but they need to play more or less a perfect game of Dust 2 by their means to be able to bring this to a decider. Yeah, well, a perfect game of Dust 2 is required of forZe if they want to make it to Beijing. Just make it to map number 3 at this point, where mousesports are looking to close this next map to head to Intel Extreme Masters Beijing. Join us after the break.